Is everybody ready for the new year? Yes. Okay, good. Feels kind of somber. Energy feels kind of, I don't know, is everybody ready for this? We got a 2018. Although I do know I'm with a whole bunch of masters here that know that every day is New Year's Day. Every moment of every day is New Year's Day. You know, but I'm a divine opportunist. I love to take advantage, to exploit God. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I want to invite you to join me. And one of those ways that you exploit God is that you ride the wave of certain energies. When we're in the human form, we're in this realm, there's energies that take place. There's all kinds of different frequencies, you know. I mean, recently we were asked to give up things that were obsolete. As we move into the new year, one of the things we do is we want to give up what's obsolete, what no longer serves us. And there are things that serve us for a while. It's kind of like when you're riding a bike. When you first learn to ride a bike and you have the training wheels and they're there and they're a godsend. Oh my God, thank God we have the training wheels. Otherwise we just fall over and end up on the ground and get some scrapes and bruises and things like that. But you got the training wheels. Then all of a sudden, when you evolve and you grow, you get to a point where you don't need the training wheels, and then they become a hindrance. Because now you've found your balance. You found that groove, your center of balance within your energy field, and you no longer need the training wheels. And so when you want to do that dip, and you want to groove, and you want to get that thrill of energy that comes through you, that kind of rush of adrenaline for feeling alive, now they're going to prevent you from doing that. So not that they're bad anymore. We're not going to, oh my God, those horrible training wheels. No, they served a purpose. They're obsolete now. We got to let them go. And that's as we come up on a new year, we want to reflect on what's obsolete. What do we not need anymore? And we want to allow those things to transmute. And we want to be grateful for them too. That's one of the things. We know as master metaphysicians and spiritual beings that our community is based on the teachings of new thought and ageless wisdom, as Reverend Michael always likes to say. Ancient wisdom, ageless wisdom, because even though there are no real new thoughts when it comes to revelation in the human experience, except to the degree that we allow it to transmute something that is no longer serving us. And it seems new, but it's not really new, it's eternal. And eternal is fresh, and it's alive, and it is not stagnant or dormant in any way. It is filled with vitality, it's filled with goodness. And so we want to open to that freshness. We want to allow ourselves to release that what is obsolete. And so that's what the topic for today is, currency exchange, embracing the change in our lives from the changeless. God is changeless. As you've heard Reverend Michael say many times, God is the same today as he was yesterday. And I know that he's not a he, but and will always be. We know that God is a kind of genderless. Kind of interesting that we're at a point in life where people are saying that they're gender non-compliant and all of that is coming up, because it's kind of some sort of a message in there with regards to the genderless nature of the divine. We know that angels are not genders, that deities, and even ourselves at our core, we're not even a gender, but we chose to be these genders in these bodies with a whole bunch of other characteristic traits because they're demonstrations of certain experiences that we want to have. And so we want to acknowledge that. We want to acknowledge the beauty that comes with our culture, with our heritage, but we don't want to be limited or bound by it. That is one of the things where a lot of times we forget. In Buddhism, we practice the art of non-attachment, where you can be observant of what is going on, you can see, but you don't have to attach. And a lot of us, it tends to be a piece of human nature where we want to attach to something. The only thing that we really want to attach to on the spiritual path is the eternal. We are attached to the eternal grace, beauty, love, and God of infinite potential, infinite possibility, and the qualities that go along with that, which are divine cooperation. A lot of what's been going on in the past year for 2017, there's been a lot of upheaval, a lot of turmoil around the globe, a lot of political stuff. And you know, political parties are representations. They're microcosmic representations of things in our societies that need to change. And so it doesn't matter, we don't even want to attach, you could see if you look at, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or maybe even the Green Party or the Independent Party, it doesn't even matter. There's certain things that each party attaches to, and I don't know if you've noticed, maybe in the news, you've seen some people are so attached to a particular point of view or so attached to a piece of the party that they aren't even allowing themselves to be open to a particular fresh point of view. I'm so attached to the way things have been. I'm so attached to an agenda that is not for the highest good that I don't even allow myself to be open to that which is true, eternal, and right. And so in the microcosmic of our own world, we want to become aware of what is emerging, not only what is emerging from us, but we want to see what is emerging for the world. There's something emerging, and as we go into the microcosmic, because everything out in the world is a macrocosmic expression of what's going on. Whatever catches your attention in the world of effects is what's going on within your own energy body. There are plenty of people around the world right now that have no clue as to what's going on in American politics. They are untouched by it, but they have an idea of what's going on maybe in their own political climate or in their own societal, cultural climate. And so that's what's grabbing them. And even within our own confines, if you look at just California, California has a different kind of energy vibration, perhaps maybe a little bit different from the rest of the country. There's certain energy that's going on. There's microcosmic fields of energy all across the globe and all across the nation, and then all right within us. And so as we come and we be still and we know that the I am presence is within us and we become the masters of our own beingness and we apply that, there's a currency exchange that starts to happen. And so as we prepare to go into the new year, there's always the practice as we move on our spiritual journey to let go of what no longer serves us, that which is obsolete, that which is no longer necessary. That's the currency exchange. And it's a divine currency exchange that we do with the divine. We do it with God. We do it with the changeless. And so there's a part of us that has never been hurt or harmed. If you spend any time in our teachings and our philosophies, you'll know that there is a part of us that has never been hurt or harmed in any way, shape, or form. There's an eternal spark within us. But what is that like? What is that like as your experience? And so one of the ways that you discover what that is like in your experience, as we move into the practice of the Buddha tenet, Buddha nature, as we were talking about the Christ consciousness last week, in that we start to uncover that. But in order to uncover it, part of the journey here is we have to let go. We have to let go of that which is obsolete. And every time we let go of that which is obsolete, in our physical body, our emotional body, and our mental bodies, we open up. Should we do it consciously? And again, there's a very deliberate point there on doing it consciously choosing. We've been given the gift of free choice in this realm, which is actually but somewhat of a cosmic joke in a way, because you can choose a wrong, which means you make choices that keep you separate from God. Because ultimately, the goal of our journey is to become whole in God. We're on the pathway of wholeness. The journey of enlightenment is wholeness, where we reclaim a whole awareness of who we really are, beyond our age, beyond our gender, beyond our culture, beyond our races, beyond our religions, beyond all of that. I think I've shared with you once before that when I was in ministerial school, and one of my favorite classes was when we took a class on diversity. And diversity is where we were looking at all the different cultures, and of course at Agape it's a very diverse culture that we have over there. And so there was a lot of different mixed races and philosophies. People come from all over, from different backgrounds. And so it's very rich in texture, and that's one of the things I love the most. I love that. And so anyway, one of the people shared like, oh yeah, I'm kind of colorblind when it comes to, things like, kind of saying that it's like, they're colorblind in that they really are accepting, they see beyond, your race, maybe your age, maybe your gender, things like that. And somebody else got very offended by that because what they were taking from that was that they weren't seeing the beauty of who they were. And it's like, okay, well, I'm a big fan of have your divine, sugarless, gluten-free, organic, raw cake and eat it too. And when you do that, You get to have it all. You get to be colorblind and you get to appreciate people's cultures. It is magnificent. One of the most beautiful things we can do is we can go on trips around this glorious globe and we can go to different cultures. And what we're going to find is that if you really tap into, especially with some of the indigenous tribes, like where the song came from, when you tap into some of these pieces, you're going to find that there's all these different multitudes of ways that beauty is being expressed in different languages, with different symbols, with different colors. And if you really study, if you study Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, the indigenous teachings, if you study any of those, you're going to find that they all say the same thing. They all say that there are, even in Hinduism, where they say that that is not a monotheistic religion, it actually is. Because you're praying to, when they have all the different deities, there's one deity back of all the deities. And so that is where you're praying to a quality of God. So if you have a Ganesha that comes in that is the remover of obstacles, that's a particular energy that you're allowing yourself to evoke, to call forward, to embody, so that you can create the change. And this is the change that we're talking, the currency exchange, the change. We want to embrace a change from the changeless that makes this experience magnificent. And that's what free will is all about. And the cosmic joke I was referring to just a moment ago was that eventually any choice that you take that keeps you separate from God, there's that divine inertia that's going to pull you towards making the divine right choice. Eventually we're going to make the divine right choice. It's going to happen. There's no way around it. But if we stall that, then we end up having a little bit of a stubbing of the toe on the mild end, or sometimes breakdowns of some sort that aren't so enjoyable. And life is meant to be enjoyable. That's the core and the crux of life. The core and the crux. And so as we're celebrating the end of 2017, and there's something wonderful, as I was saying, being a divine opportunist, liking to exploit God, there's this big wave of energy that comes at the end of a year that's about resolutions and intentions and what are we going to do for... So, like, okay, let's ride that wave. Everybody's building that energy for the resolutions. And there is a mandate within you. There is a song that needs to be sung from your heart and soul. Everybody has one. Everybody has one. There's a purpose, a lot of it, we call it a purpose, we call it our passion. There's something that's seeking to emerge from you into the world, and the best way for you to express that is when you are unencumbered by the things. Maybe it's that ball and chain that we sometimes think of, and sometimes we think it's our spouse. But that can't be true, because the only ball and chain that we have are the balls and chains that we put on our own legs. And so we want to unshackle ourselves and release that which is obsolete and be very clear. Again, you've heard me talk about it before. Divine right discernment. Understanding the language of truth, the language of God, so that you're choosing from that right place. And all it really takes is the willingness. The willingness to do that. The willingness to be, okay, I am willing to be passionate about that which is seeking to emerge through me. I am willing to choose to be in compliance with the laws of divine harmony that is win-win, mutual beneficial fulfillment for everybody and everything. That is what I am willing. I am willing to seek and find good in everything and everyone. Seek magnificence in everything and everyone. For we know that in basic law of attraction, what goes around comes around. So we want to start to embody. But it's even more brilliant than that. It's more brilliant. You want to uncover, we want to polish that beautiful platter within us and let it shine so brightly. And so part of that is just simply by connecting to the passions which start to show up as intentions. What are intentions? They are aligners. When we set our intentions, when we have our prayer requests, they start to shift energy. And so they're going to push up against, if energy is already flowing in the direction of your intention, then you're going to have, it's going to be a really smooth journey. It's going to be a smooth journey if you're already in alignment with the intention. And pretty soon, those intentions just dissolve, and all of a sudden you just get to be in the timelessness, in the world but not of it, where your prayers are answered before you pray them, because there is no obstacles. Why do we pray? We pray because generally there are obstacles. One of my favorite things in the world, one of the favorite, and I want to put this forward for maybe one of the intentions for 2018, going through practitioner training. One of the things you have to do is you have to work the prayer lines at Agape. And so even once in a while, I'll still be up there answering the prayer lines. And when people call in, probably somewhere around 90% of the time, we get prayer requests when people are in crisis. I always counsel people when I'm working with my clients and things like that, call and just say, I want to celebrate this. I am grateful for this. Call with that, because when you put Jinnah, again, this is another divine opportunistic moment. Call with gratitude. Don't wait for crisis. We don't want to be in a crisis management in our life. We want to be in a place where we are alive and thriving. Glory to greater glory. There is nothing better than glory to greater glory. Why wait? So as we're riding this opportunistic wave, it's very simple. Any of you who know me and know that I work in the realm of subtle energies and energy bodies and the energy field, they're called subtle energies for a reason. God is subtle. God is very subtle, but so powerful, moves mountains. And when we surrender to that within us, when we allow ourselves to be engaged in the currency exchange, because what ends up happening in that currency exchange is, okay, God, I'm not exactly sure, but I know that this is hindering me in my life, and I would like to release this burden. And I just imagine like coming up as though this is the altar of God and saying, here I've got these worries, these doubts, and these concerns, that ball and chain, and I'm going to give it to God, and I'm going to go ahead and put it on the altar. Oops. We're back. I'm going to give that to God, and we're going to allow the transmutation or the alchemy, the process of alchemy to take place. It really is that easy. But you wouldn't believe how many people get stymied or thwarted because they think it's too big. It is too big for the small self, but it is not too big for the courageous. And when you have divine courage going through your beingness, you can take on anything. And it really does take a sense of divine strength. And we are told in Scripture that the meek shall inherit the earth. And we're told that in a way, because what is meek? A lot of people think that meek is kind of somewhat synonymous with weak, which it absolutely is not. Meek is being soft. It's being open to the holy light of God. It takes a strength to soften and be open to that holy light, but it is so easy. But sometimes when the ego gets its claws on something, it's like, oh no, it's going to make me look small or insignificant. It's like, no, the meek shall inherit the earth because they are soft and they are open to the presence of God, and they are allowing God to move to them and through them and to empower them. It is not me, but the Father, Mother, God within me that doeth the work. That is how the meek shall inherit the earth. We want to be meek. We want to be absolutely meek and soft and open. And so part of that is going to be this currency exchange we're going to do in just about a moment. You've all got a coin that looks kind of like this. It looks exactly like this, actually. And it should be underneath your chair. This is a beautiful gift from Soul Center. It's got our logo on the back. Aren't they beautiful? So this is something that we're going to carry with us into the new year as a sign of currency, not only as the currency exchange that with God, but as a currency of expansion in the currency that we also know as money. Because I'm just going to throw it out there, one of our intentions for this year, it is the most generous, profitable, prosperous experience that we've ever had. You're going to take your sacral and your root chakras, and you're just going to go, we're going to let them be so meek and so open. But you got to remember, there's two sides to a coin. There's the giving side and there's the receiving side. A lot of us sometimes, some of us, get stuck on the receiving, and some of us get stuck on the giving, whether it's of time or resources or money. We want to be in perfect balance so that when you flip the coin, that it's win-win, no matter if it's heads or tails. So we are going to do a process. I'm going to walk you, I'm going to just say it for a moment, but in a moment, we're going to go ahead and we're going to infuse. For those of you who might be familiar with psychometry is when you take an object that somebody has had for a long time, and a lot of mediums will use psychometry where they'll take an item from somebody who has passed over or crossed over, and it holds the energy of that person, and they'll start to read the energy because this has absorbed that energy. And so in the physical world, you know, when you walk into certain sacred places like Agape, like Soul Center, like Notre Dame, you walk into certain holy places and it's like, oh my God, because it's absorbed all this holy energy of people being on their best behavior, people who have come into a place that have been called to be divine, to be light, to be in the prayer field. So we're going to infuse these coins of change for the new year with particular energy. We're going to kind of do the reverse of psychometry. Instead of reading the energy from it, we're going to infuse the energy into it. And because your heart field is the nexus point where we've got the Star of David as the sacred geometry, the downward-facing triangle, God coming down into us, and the upward-facing triangle is us coming up to God. This is the nexus point where heaven and earth meet in our bodies, in our energy field. So we're going to hold them by our heart center. We're going to infuse some energy into them, and then you're going to pass the coin to the person on your right. And if you're on the end, then you're going to want to pass it forward, I think. We'll see if that works. And then we're going to infuse it again, and then we're going to pass it, because another piece of this is the collective consciousness. We are not doing this alone. We are doing it together. There is the soul cluster energy that goes beyond the human energy field. The next energy field out, as you've heard me talk to you about it before, is your soul cluster. That is where you are involved with the energy of the world at large. And we want to affect that and know that we have our peeps. Not only our peeps in the invisible as our angels, guides, and masters, but the peeps on this planet in the physical form. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and hold this coin up. And we're just going to take a moment, a prayerful moment, and I just want you to think. Don't analyze it, don't figure, just think of something. It could be one thing, it could be 3 things, it could be 10 things that you are grateful for from 2017. One of the most beautiful, grateful things, an experience, a feeling, a knowingness, anything at all from 2017. And just allow yourself to rest in that field of gratitude as we open to the divine light of God. We open to the divine light of God and we begin to feel it. Imagine, like in our meditation this morning, that you're sitting beneath a beam of golden white light that is pouring down, source energy saturating you, filling and flooding you. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to have you just take a moment, no efforting, no trying, anything from 2017 that is obsolete, that you're going to allow yourself to just let go of. Let go of whatever it is. It could be doubt, debt, worry, concern, anything at all. Just allow yourself, again, no analyzing, no efforting. We're just going to allow ourselves to release that which is obsolete. And then we're going to go ahead as we hold that coin in front of our heart centers, the nexus point of the Holy Spirit of God in and to and through and as our lives. And we're going to open to the energies of love and beauty, joy, clarity, and divine understanding, and infuse that energy. You don't have to do anything. We just evoke it. Imagine the energy coming down through your crown, through your arms, into your hands, and through your heart, into your palms, infusing the energies into that coin, this currency that is made of metal that has come from the earth as a way to ground the energy. And then I'm going to have you go ahead and just pass the coin to the person on your right. And again, if you are on the end, you're going to want to pass it back, I think, or forward. Okay, forward. Make sure it works. As long as it gets to somebody different, we're good. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring that coin and we're going to bring it up to our heart and we're going to infuse it again. We're going to infuse it with the energy of wellness, freedom, prosperity, and generosity. And just imagine as we evoke these energies coming through your palms, into your hands, into the coin from your heart, and just feel those energies flooding into that coin. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pass that coin one more time. Pass it to the person on your right. Going forward again. All right, make sure we're all good. Okay. And now we're going to hold it up in front of our hearts and we're going to infuse it with the energy of inspiration, cooperation, compassion, and divine strength. That is for the highest, most good, the most mutually beneficial energy of success. We flood that energy into this coin. And we have passed these coins from one person to the next. This is a group collective energy. We take a moment as we hold it here and we turn within. We turn within and we know that the omnipresence, omnipotence, omniamorous light of God that is everywhere, in every space, in every place, in every nook, in every cranny, in every breath, in every sight, in every sound, we allow ourselves to commune with that, to allow our minds to be the mind of God, to allow our bodies to be the body of God, to allow truth and grace and divine cooperation to fill and thrill as we experience the great remembering that we are born in the image and likeness of God, and we allow ourselves to know that, to feel it, to see it, to hear it, to sense it, to experience it in our bones, that we, each and every one of us, born in the image and likeness of God, that we allow ourselves to know ourselves and love ourselves as God knows and loves us, that we allow ourselves to know everybody else as God knows and loves them. We open to this, and I'm grateful that as we, as divine ambassadors of the light, with the ability to bless, that we have infused this energy into this symbolic coin of currency, and we allow the divine currency of grace, beauty, and truth to set us free. And it is from a place of gratitude and thanksgiving that as we release that which is obsolete from 2017, that no longer serves us without any blame or shame, we let it go in gratitude and we embrace the dynamic life force of God as we move forward into this new year, and we allow it to be better than ever before. And it is from a place of gratitude and thanksgiving that we release this prayer into the dynamic law, the law of creation, and we allow ourselves to receive it back as our experience. In agreement, we claim it so even better than we could ever imagine with our surface minds. We let it be so by saying, and so it is. Amen. And since we're on the subject of money, or coins, I'll invite the ushers to come forward. While they're coming forward, I'm going to invite you to take these coins, a nice practice if you want to keep the energy flowing and glowing. A lot of times people will take, they'll take some money and they'll put it in a little envelope and they put it outside on their front door porch or wherever your front door is, somewhere before midnight. And then on New Year's Day, you can go out and you open it and you bring it back in. It's like you're letting it go, you're bringing it back in, you're allowing it to be fruitful and multiply. So if that calls to you in any way, you can take this, do that. You can just put it straight onto your altar and allow it to be a remembering of what's soul center and what we are bringing into this brand new year. As we prepare our offerings, I would like to also just remind you, we want to do what we just did with these coins, with the currency of our promissory notes, the dollars that we circulate into the world, that we tithe to our center. You know that we are getting ready to expand. We're expanding. We have a vision for this community, for expansion in programs and teachings, for our building. So that is coming up, and I just wanted to invite you all to participate on the level of your expansion. It's our expansion, it's your expansion, there's no separation. So as you hold your tithe, we take a moment and we just bless that. We bless our tithe, knowing that we are all in agreement that as we put forward this exchange of energy known as money, the promise and the promissory note, that we are allowing it, knowing that there is nothing that is mine, it is all God's. We are allowing it. We have an agreement that it comes back to us minimally 100-fold. And it's from a place of gratitude and thanksgiving that we allow that to be. We claim it, we own it, let it be by saying once again, and so it is.